Hey everyone, welcome back to Bad Bassin'. Today we're going to talk about two-piece fishing rods. We're going to go over my top 5, what I throw on them, and why you should start including them in your arsenal. Now let's get into it. So the way that I have set up my gear, my kayak trailer, and the way that I just generally transport my items has made me exclusive to fishing two-piece rods. So in doing so, I've been uniquely aware of a lot of the different models or lack thereof of two-piece rods that exist in the US market. So whether those rods are made of carbon fiber, graphite, composite, or fiberglass, the technology in two-piece rods has come so far, especially within the last 10 years, that in my opinion, I don't think that you lose any sensitivity, or at least you are on par with the majority of one-piece rods. So one of the things that people have, or at least a perception that they have about two-piece rods, is that where those two pieces meet, you're going to have a flat spot, and that's where you lose a lot of your sensitivity. While we talk about these, I'm going to show you some footage from when I'm catching fish, and I want you to pay attention to the way that the rods take the load of the fish, how it's distributed across the rod, and really, frankly, the lack of a flat spot where those two pieces meet. And because of that, and that's the advancement in the technology of two-piece rods, that's where your sensitivity is able to be transferred down to you so that you can feel the fish in the same way that you would with a one-piece rod. So in no particular order, we're going to start with our first rod here, which is going to be a St. Croix Moho Bass 6'8" extra fast casting rod. Now, right now, I have it tied on with a Texas rig Emo Kamushi. Typically, that's what I throw, and I've caught a lot of really nice bass off this rod. It has a really nice handle with a good cork end cap and handle to it. So, although it's an extra fast rod, I think of it more as probably a typical fast action than most extra fast. It does a great job of loading up. The sensitivity on this, I would say, is excellent. It's light. It makes for a day that if you're flipping and pitching for a long time, multiple hours, you're not going to get tired doing this. So with that St. Croix, I originally have found them off Tackle Warehouse, but it looks like they are no longer on Tackle Warehouse with the two-piece rod. So for that one in particular, when I bought my latest one, I had to go straight to the St. Croix website to buy it off of there directly. So the second one we're going to cover here is the Shimano SLX medium power extra fast spinning rod. Now for this rod in particular, I use it for a lot of my finesse fishing. So if you think like wacky rigs, Ned rigs, and different Texas rig style baits, very slow fishing, Nico rigs and stuff like that, the sensitivity on this is beyond excellent. It's an amazing rod, but I do have difficulty with this rod when it comes to the durability. I've had to replace it several times because I've had the tip break off doing various things, whether even just reeling in a fish or easily snapped off when it got caught on something. So I've had some durability problems with this, but as you can see, I still have one. And the reason is because it's an amazing rod. I really like it, and it was worth buying again for me, frankly. So for this particular rod, I purchased it off Tackle Warehouse at the time. I do not know if they still carry this rod on Tackle Warehouse or not. I think it might only be one-piece rods on the SLX series, but I know you can get them directly from Shimano. I just recently got this one probably about at the end of last season in the fall. So they were available back then. Definitely recommend this rod, but I will give that caveat of the durability issue that I've had experience with. So the third one we're going to cover here is the Fenwick Elite Bass spinning rod. This is a 6'9", medium heavy, moderate fast action. Now, one thing I want to point out here is you typically don't see moderate fast actions in two-piece rods. And I think that's a testament to the advancement in technology of just general rods and two-piece rods in particular. So for this rod, I use it for a lot of my Texas rig stuff, a lot of my finesse fishing as well, Ned rigs. It's been a very good rod for me. I haven't had it for too long. It's a relatively new rod for me. It has a cork end and a cork handle. It's very comfortable, very light. Sensitivity, I would say, is definitely above average for sure. So the fourth one we're going to look at here is another St. Croix in the Triumph model. Now this is a medium power, fast action spinning rod. So this rod for me is my dedicated drop shot rod. I always have the drop shot with me, and this rod is one of my personal favorites because I think the sensitivity is excellent with this rod. I feel that weight on the bottom running across every surface that you could possibly imagine that you're going to run into, and I feel the fish very well through this rod. I like the load as you have the fish and you set your hook. It has an extended cork handle, which is very nice, and cork in where your hand goes. I definitely would rate the sensitivity on this rod excellent. So for this rod, I found this on Tackle Warehouse at the time, but again, you might have to go to St. Croix's website specifically to find it. It's one of the ones that are a little more difficult to find in my opinion, but it's an excellent rod and I highly recommend it. So the fifth rod that we're going to talk about is one of my personal favorites, and the reason being is because it is my dedicated Carolina rig setup. Now, if you've followed the channel at all or you've seen some of my videos, you'll know that I love fishing the Carolina rig. I made a video particular just covering the Carolina rig, from everything from the equipment that I use to where I fish it to the baits that I have tied onto it, and I'll link it in this video, so make sure you check that out. Now in this rod in particular, this is a Daiwa Tetula. This is a medium power, fast action spinning rod. So this rod is extremely sturdy. It is built very sturdy. Now I would say that the sensitivity in this rod is probably more average to slightly above average, but you do get a lot of, because of that moderate action on it, that moderate fast action on it, it does a great job of handling some of the larger weights. I've caught some really nice bass using the Carolina rig. So it's one of those rods that does a great job in the role that it plays for me, and I'm extremely happy with it. So this rod, last I checked, is available on Tackle Warehouse. You can easily find it there, as well as many other places. I think you might even be able to get this one on Amazon as well. Okay, so I'm going to cover a couple different rods here that are a little more budget friendly if you're looking into the sub 100 or even, you know, $50, $60, $70 range. Now in that range, you can get really hit or miss when it comes to any rod, let alone a two-piece rod. So I had a decent amount of ugly sticks when I first started with two-piece rods, and I've since moved away from those. I think ugly sticks are great. I did have some trouble with the ugly sticks seating correctly, staying seated, and a little bit of the durability, which I know sounds crazy because they're typically very, very good, but I did move away from some of their two-piece rods. The one that I really, really like, and I still use, that is a little more budget friendly, is the Cast King Pedigree 2 line. So I've used a couple of these Cast King Pedigrees 2s for various things, like some of my chatterbaits. There's a couple videos on there that you maybe have seen, some of the shorts where I've caught some fish on the Cast King Pedigree, but these are excellent, excellent rods for the money that you're paying. Last I checked, I think they were somewhere around $50 to $60, and honestly, I think that's a steal. I think Cast King does, I can't speak to their reels because I don't have any reels, but I think they do an excellent, excellent job on their rods, and I've had really good luck with their two-piece rods. So definitely look into it. This one I have is a 7-foot. It's a heavy rod. I've used their heavy rod for even some of my frog fishing and topwater stuff, and it's really pulled some big hogs out of some messy situations and did great. I've used them probably heavier than I should have, and they still perform well on some of the weights with stuff that I'm throwing. So I would definitely 100% recommend the Cast King rods. Check those out if you're looking at two-piece rods. They do a great job for what you pay for them, and honestly, they're a steal at the price that they currently are. So check those out as well. Now, in my experience, across the multiple different brands and models that I have, I have not seen a price difference between the 2-piece and their counterpart 1-piece rods. Now, whether you think that's a good thing or a bad thing is going to be up to you. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video and you got some ideas on 2-piece rods that you're willing to try out. I really think you should look into them. The ability to transport them and the ability that they have nowadays with the sensitivity, I really think they're on par, if not above, some of these 1-piece rods. And of course, there's going to be some, manufacturing or quality differences between some of the different, models and manufacturers out there. But for the most part, technology has come so far with rods that I don't think you're losing a whole lot of sensitivity, if anything at all. And even if you are, I think it's so negligible that you guys are not going to have any issues. And it comes with the added benefit of being able to easily transport your rods and not have to worry about throwing them in the back of the truck and breaking them and stuff like that. So if you have any comments, please leave them in the comment section. I'd love to know if you guys have any 2-piece rods that you're using or what your experiences are with some of these. Make sure you like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.